Alright, so thanks so much for joining me today. Super excited. I'm going to basically break down everything that we have given to our members that have seen a lot of success when it comes to nutrition in combination with their training, right? On top of that, I'm going to give you a little bit on the science, not going to get all geeky on you or bodybuilder with it. I'm just giving you kind of a snapshot of why we lose fat and what we need to do to create that perfect storm. Cool? So, what is the secret to reducing body fat or losing weight? Okay, healthy diet and healthy exercise. That really is the secret. But what we're going to talk about more is the actual strategies, which starts from here, our mindset and what we're thinking and our approach to what we actually go out into day to day. Cool. So, whether we're trying to reduce body fat or become successful in anything, where do we go? Do we try to reinvent the wheel? Or would you guys agree that we probably want to look at what does work, right? Would you say so? Cool. So when it comes to reducing body fat, who do we think of as the best in the world? Probably bodybuilders, right? They're pretty darn good. Now it's an extreme, but there's something to be learned. They're following some type of principle that does work. Because then you have others in other spaces on The Biggest Loser, which is another extreme, but a whole other population. The point is that the same principles are being used to some degree, in some way, shape, or form, with all these different sub-niches or subcultures or populations, right? So let's look at the principles as we go through this. And also you want to look at, does the program that you're considering, or the approach that you're considering, has it worked for others? A lot of times we see what's the latest and greatest, right? Who here, raise your hand if you've seen a new diet pop up in the past month or so. And you're like, it sounds interesting, right? That's marketing at its best. I love marketing. Darn, they're good at it. So does this work, what I'm about to share with you today? Well, it worked for Coach Celeste in the back. Hey, Celeste, she lost 51 pounds and 17% body fat. Now, Celeste, would you agree that you tried a lot of strategies in your journey, and it came down to not necessarily a new strategy, but reinforcing habits from mindset and habitual practices day in, day out through exercise, right? Who else does it work for? Debbie! Debbie couldn't join us today. That's not a good before picture, folks, because there's two of them. But she lost 71 pounds, and those are the incorrect numbers. She lost over 71 pounds using these same exact principles. Okay? A strategy based on these principles. Diane, who here has met Diane? Lovely lady. Trains usually 5:30s Mondays and Wednesdays, I believe. She's lost over 40 pounds by taking these principles and applying them. Right? They're principles. It's not a quick, short-term diet. Elaine, who's met Elaine? Who's seen Elaine? Now everyone has, right? Cool. So she's down about 50 pounds now since August. Here is coming into late February, and same thing, mindset approach, and also a proven strategy, which we're going to go over today. So 3 keys to success from your nutrition. That's it, just 3. First, it's going to be mindset or attitude, which is your relationship with food. Who here has tried to lose weight before? Raise your hand. Right? Who here has been unsuccessful with an attempt at weight loss? Raise your hand, like me, if you have. Cool. So why is that? Was it a bad strategy? Did the thing you were doing not work for someone else? Right? We could probably agree that it hadn't worked for someone else, or else we wouldn't have tried it. Okay? So is it the plan that we're following that's flawed, or is it our thinking and our approach to it? That's what I believe. It doesn't matter if we're trying to lose weight or become successful in our profession. That same principle applies. So your strategy, what is your approach? That's the second most important thing. Because if your head's right, your head's in the right place, but you're following a plan that does not work at all, it is some gimmicky thing, you're probably not going to be successful, right? It doesn't matter how prepared you are for it. And of course, reinforcement. Do you reinforce the healthy habits? What is working, what you need to be doing, right? Is your head in the right place? And on top of that, are you reinforcing, yes, I need to do this, and yes, I need to follow through every day. Yes, there's motivation to that, but there's a little bit more as well. So key number 1, mindset and attitude. If your head is in the wrong place, your diet or your strategy, whatever you want to look at it, it doesn't matter what you're going to do. It doesn't matter how motivated you are, how pumped up you are, how much pressure you put on yourself to follow through and be successful with this, you're not going to be successful, at least not in the long term, okay? And once you agree with a poor and frustrated attitude towards weight loss, it's going to be a lot harder. Who here has had to do something in their life that they did not want to do, but they had to do it, right? Was going into it with a poor attitude going to make it a lot more difficult, yes? Right, exactly. The same exact thing with weight loss. If we take it with a mindset approach is, this is going to be the worst 8 weeks of my life. Is it going to be the worst 8 weeks of our life? Yeah. Or if we go into it thinking, oh, I don't want to do this. I have to do this. Versus, this is my opportunity to become healthier, happier, reduce body fat, feel better about myself, and improve my self-confidence. Are those two different conversations we're having with ourselves? There's two different scenarios, two different people almost, right? So these are some things that you usually see whenever we're talking about any sort of extreme diet or just simple shift in eliminating sugars and pastas and flours from our diet, right? A lot of times we say, I've tried everything, this probably won't work either. Who's ever felt that way before? I know I have. I've tried a lot of different things. I like testing things, they're fun. I'm not giving up my wine, pasta, beer, treats, my snacks. Who here has ever felt that way when trying something new when it comes to nutrition? I know I have, right? I love almond butter, but sometimes in excess it's not the best thing for you, right? And every diet I've tried has failed. What's different about this one? What does this go back to? Is it about the strategy, or is it about our mindset approach to it? If we keep doing the things we've been doing, we'll keep getting what we've been getting. The same results, right? If we go through this cycle, because would you guys say that you've gone through some type of cycle, you stress out, there's a deadline coming up to go to the beach or a wedding or something very special coming up in our lives, that we're, all right, we got 12 weeks, let's do this. And then you go back to some cycle or pattern or approach or strategy to losing weight that is usually not healthy, usually quick fix, and then we get frustrated when either we don't fall through, and that deadline comes up and we don't feel our best, or after the deadline, we were successful, but then guess where do we end up back at? With those extra 10 or 15 pounds that we worked so hard to get off. Okay. This is really one of the biggest things that dictates our body fat percentage, I believe, and success in a lot of things we do in life, right? I run this gym. This is a reflection of how what I have gone through over the past year, which I'll share with you, but also how well this runs. If my stress level is high, am I going to be at my best as a coach or as a business owner? No, absolutely not. Who here is stressed out during the week at some point? Right? Work, family, kids, you name it. Who here takes proactive steps every single day to manage their stress? What do you do, Celeste?
I treat my body well.
How do you mean?
I knew you were going to say that. I make sure that I spend at least an hour on myself, whether it's exercise or making sure I'm putting good food in my body. I try to go to bed on time, but that is like
it's a challenge, right?
Huge challenge.
But
because if I want to spend that hour for myself, I'm not going to get to bed on time.
Trade-off. But you take proactive steps every day, right? Jade, what do you do every day?
I try to get the rest I need because that has been a real challenge, and consuming the water and not adding too much to my plate.
Cool. Anyone else have any daily habits or actions they take? Any morning rituals? How do you start your day? Do you run into the shower, run to the dogs, hop into the car? I personally wake up an hour extra. I know not everyone can do that. I understand. I prioritize some form of meditation or relaxation, mindfulness. We're not speaking religion here. I'm simply saying peace, calm, quiet, right? I focus on gratitude every day. I journal every day. And not every day is going to be perfect, but if I start my day that way, I feel like I can steer that ship. I'm turning the Titanic away from that iceberg, right? Because if we wake up, who here has woken up in a crappy mood at some point? I know I have. I have days where I feel, and I do not want to get out of bed because I have something very stressful that I know is coming my way. Maybe here or at home with my parents or whatever it may be. And we all go through that. But you can see where this is kind of the root of before the strategy, before we can have our head in the right place to follow through day to day and be successful with weight loss or weight maintenance, we need to take these proactive steps. Because realistically, when it comes down to stress, hormonally, stress is driving us to crave food, that instant gratification, the dopamine release, right? We want the instant satisfaction. It gives us that. Food does give us that, especially our favorite carbohydrates, sugars, trans fats, all those good, tasty stuff that we know consciously are terrible for us. And they're getting us further away from our goals. More importantly, habitually, if we're very reactive in our day and not proactive by setting the stage with some type of morning habit or ritual that positively launches our day, then we are going to be more reactive throughout our day. And usually, who here is reactive towards food? I know I am. I'm a stress eater. I will go straight to the almond butter, or sometimes worse things. So how do we manage stress? In general, having a plan, right? Doesn't matter if we're talking professionally or personally, what our thing that we're working towards is. Who here works right now? Okay? Or has in the past? Congratulations on your recent retirement. Who here goes into their day with a plan? Right? If you don't, what happens? How productive are you? Okay? Same thing with weight loss or weight maintenance. It's never a done job. Okay? If you do not have a plan for your day, week, month, do you think you're going to be successful? Absolutely not. Right? Something is going to come up that's going to deter you, that you're going to settle for something less than what you should be eating or doing. Right? Not exercising or eating poor foods. Taking daily action. It's huge. Even with a plan. Who here's made a plan for something, usually weight loss, and then not follow through with it every day? Fall off, right? Not taking action. Third, support and accountability, right? That could be a personal coach, okay? Or just putting yourself, which we're going to talk about later, into an environment like this where there's other women that are just trying to be healthy, maybe lose weight, may not have the exact same goals, but you're in the same headspace. And that means the world. And you're here taking an action. You're killing two birds with one stone. You're surrounding yourself with like-minded people that aren't choosing to abuse their bodies with poor health food choices and, stressing, resorting to stress. And, you're in this door, you're finding a woman walk in Friday at 5:30 instead of going to happy hour down the street. What's the difference between those two? If the two people want to lose weight, they weigh the same exact amount, they have the same height, everything else is all equal. One person walks in here every Friday, one person goes to Chewy's upstairs. Who's going to be more successful? The person that walks in here. Is it because we have the best training program in the world? Probably not. It's because they're being proactive and taking the daily action and following through, right? Having a plan. I've kind of already touched on this. More importantly, when will you do what? Right? Who here in your daily agenda marks down or kind of pre-plans when you're going to exercise for that day? Just as a thought, right? Do you have a backup plan? Why not? Do things come up sometimes? Right? That little shift, that little action sets you up for success. Because if you plan 5 workouts in a week and 3 days you can make a backup time, are you going to be more successful than not putting that contingency plan in? Absolutely, 100%. What are you going to be doing during that time? This same principle applies to food. Same principle applies to, if I cannot prep food, then I will have X ready to go, right? So what is your backup plan? And this same principle applies to planning your food. Who here has picked a day that they plan food, like a Sunday? I usually do Sunday and Thursday. I'll do one batch, one meal. Sometimes that day goes to crap, right? And then what do we have to do? We have to have a backup plan for that. It's that simple, right? But you can see how easy we can feel hopeless and lost if Monday comes around. We haven't planned out any of this. Sunday went to crap, and we didn't have the opportunity to be proactive with our food. Does that make sense? So what are your rituals? Like I said, here's what I do every day: daily meditation, mindfulness, gratitude, positive affirmations, and then the specific example to this presentation is review your weight loss goal. How successful were you yesterday? How successful do you intend to be today? What is that going to do for you in the future? Okay. Same principles apply to any sort of business success, you name it. And then midday stress relief, because what I'm actually listening to a book right now where they're talking about kind of like mental fatigue and endurance when it comes to, you know, making decisions throughout your day and following through with weight loss in particular, right? So blood sugar goes like this throughout the day depending on what we eat, when we eat. So we hormonally are susceptible for not being productive with our foods already. But if you're not managing your stress, does stress increase throughout the day? Physically, yes. Emotionally, a lot of times it does, right? Stuff happens at work, or we're just drained, we're stressed out of our minds. We're all going through it, you know, it's what we do though. If you give yourself a midday stress reliever, that can be walking for 30 minutes. That can be exercising, if it makes sense for you, right? Meditation, if that's something you choose to participate in, which I highly recommend. Or just turn off your darn phone and read a book for 30 minutes. This is your opportunity also to reinforce your healthy habits. So midday, do you think your result 12 weeks later, instead of eating lunch with coworkers at a restaurant every day, or choosing to go off on your own to walk for 30 minutes, what's going to get you closer to your goal? Probably going off and giving yourself those 30 minutes of stress relief and reinforcing a healthy habit and exercise, right? Simple as walking. But it's going to bring you closer than going and putting yourself into an environment where you're more susceptible to midday drinks and unhealthy foods, right? Also having a coach, someone that knows how to help you do it, someone that practices what they preach, very important because a lot of times you don't see that. And then also someone that will hold you accountable. Because sometimes it isn't knowing what to do. Who here knows how to lose weight? All of us do. We all have read something. Start by eating less, or cut carbs. You know, there's a lot of different strategies, right? It's not about learning more of what to do. It's about doing it. And that's accountability, right? I hired a coach when I went through my own journey, which I'm going to share in a minute. And I didn't learn anything from him. He created this feeling, just because I was giving him a couple bucks every month, that I was accountable to reporting to him. And there's immense value in that. This was me, all July 23rd, I think. I gained about 30-some pounds from stress from opening the gym, and I stopped exercising for 3 months. That was one of the worst days of my life. And I had about $30,000 in debt on my mind, and I hated waking up every day. I was at a low point. And I could fall, I tried, I'll be dead honest. Through those 6 months, I did crash diets. I did quick fixes. My body fat went up and down like this. And nothing, I saw this change, you know, up and down. This, it just kept getting worse. That was me when I made a full commitment to do a bodybuilding competition. That was 11 weeks of work, just pure dedication. I was fully committed. I had a proven plan. I practiced daily action, mindfulness, meditation. So I got my head in the right place. And I did have a coach, right? So did I follow all these principles that I just presented here? And this is isolated, you know, I don't want to say instantly, but this is my journey, right? But the principles are still the same. It doesn't matter if you're trying to lose 50 pounds or 5 pounds. These same principles work. They work for the women that are on that wall that everyone should take a peek at. I got new pictures of them. But these same principles apply. They all work, right? So key strategy number 2, or key number 2 is strategy, sorry. So is your nutrition plan soundproof? Has it worked sustainably for others? That's a big thing. Because we've all seen the weight loss programs that help you lose weight on a scale, right? Probably, yeah. I mean, most diets promise that. More importantly, though, does this plan fit for your lifestyle? The one I did probably is not going to fit for your lifestyle. Did it work? Was it a proven plan? Yes. Was my head in the right place? Yes. Did I have a coach? Yes. But you're not going to want to do what I did. I wouldn't say it's unhealthy, but it was extreme, right? But what is bodybuilding? It's an extreme lifestyle sport where they reduce body fat and build muscle. Have you heard of any of these diets? Raise your hand if you have. Higher. What about there? Have you Hey, oh wait, we're not done, hold it up. Have you sustainably lost weight from any of these diets to this day?
Well, sustainable.
Still practicing and preaching?
No.
Okay.
Sometimes for years.
Right. So, is it our strategy, or is it where we're at with our heads and our attitude and relationship with that, right? These can set you up. Like Celeste, for example, she started Weight Watchers for years. When she finally got her, well, okay, so you had done it a few times, right?
I had tried, yes, I had tried and fallen off the wagon many times.
Sure. The last time, though, it was her launch pad as she transitioned to Whole30 and Paleo. Do you live by that lifestyle?
That lifestyle, yes.
Okay, right. But how different is your headspace, your mindset
This
towards
is
it?
totally different.
Completely different relationship with food. And then you take someone else that isn't here, that could be sitting in a chair in this room, and who had started same process, but they looked at it as a completely different thing, as a 30-day experience versus a lifestyle. And what are their results? Probably not the same, right? So here's the secret to fat loss and maintaining a weight, any sort of weight, whatever your weight goal may be. Quality, quantity, balance, and timing. That's it. If you follow this hierarchy in this order, you will be successful. If you try to prioritize one before the other, you may maintain, but it's not going to be sustainable. Okay. So what I found works for this particular group of this audience that walks in here, that trains in here, the woman that trained in this gym. Paleo or Whole30, okay? Clean eating, I like to call it. And then for those that really want to crank it up and get specific results, hitting your macronutrients, a rough calorie goal, okay, with fat, carb, protein balance. Right? And I'll show you how to get specific with that. But what comes first, quality or quantity? Quality, exactly. Because quantity doesn't matter. You can go, theoretically, if you have 60 pounds to lose, you could probably set a calorie goal, eat McDonald's every day within that calorie goal, and you might see some progress. Are you going to be healthier? No. Is it going to be sustainable? No. So, when it comes to getting results from this, have you checked these steps off? Quality, quantity, balance, and timing. Okay? A lot of times, I get the question, what else can I do? Or why is it not working? I always go back to what's the quality of your foods. And then usually what happens is we focus on the quality for a week. We're seeing a little bit of progress or not enough, and then we jump to the next thing. Oh, well, maybe it's the quantity. Maybe it's the balance that I'm not doing right. Maybe it's the timing, right? Why do we jump ship so often? Because we do want to see fast results, and that's understandable, but it's not a fast process. Anyone that promises fast weight loss probably is not going to help you sustain it or truly deliver, right? Who here knows how many calories is in 1 pound of body fat?
Is it 3,500?
3,500, exactly.
Exactly.
Done. Clap it up. That was good. So my question for you is, how the heck are we going to lose, like someone that wants to lose 3 pounds of weight fat in a week? That's like 10,000 extra calories you got to burn somewhere. Now you could do it, but who has the time for that? You either need to starve yourself, which isn't going to work, definitely not sustainably, or you need to be exercising full time. Like professional athletes probably could lose 3 pounds of body fat, but what do they do all day? Do they work out? Yeah, exactly. We have to be realistic with it. So quality, there's no secrets here. Chicken, fish, beef. For those that are vegetarian, for example, there are substitutes: pea protein, whey protein, hemp protein, right? You can also get your protein sources from legumes, nuts, and seeds as well. Okay. Healthy fats: olive, coconut, avocado, nuts, and seeds. Right? And then quality of your carbs: starches such as sweet potatoes, and then vegetables, lean greens. Right? Nothing beats it. Okay. Those, sorry, fruits. Yep, fruits can go in there as well. We'll talk more specifically on fruit in a little bit, but yes, I just forgot fruit. Quantity. So, once you have your quality in place, what do you do next? You track and measure. Give it 4 weeks. Give it 4 to 6 weeks before you jump ship to the next thing, right? We all want to jump to the next thing that's going to get us that quick result. Focus on 4 to 6 weeks of quality. Once you have mastered quality, then we add in quantity, because there's no point in making it complicated with a specific quantity if we have not mastered our quality, and we're still choosing sugar-filled foods a lot, right? Okay? So here is a simple equation that's very popular in the fitness industry that works, okay? This is called the Harris-Benedict equation. There's calculators you can find online. I can include some resources in the email to everyone after this, okay? And you can also pull this exact equation. There's no secret. It is on the internet on many websites, okay? This will give you a goal, okay? And what I usually find is that a lot of women that I have been able to help come in thinking they need to eat maybe 1,200 calories. Who here is focused on 1,200 calories? Why?
That's what they tell you.
That's what they tell you. Who tells you?
Oh, let's
Shape Magazine, Women's Health,
see.
Dr. Oz.
Every equation you plug into,
Weight Watchers.
when you,
Right, and it may,
You put in your body size, you put in your height, your bone structure, you know.
sure, and that, but here's the thing. We've kind of, what I find a pattern of is a very arbitrary 1,200 calories for someone that walks in here that might be 150 pounds to someone that might be 250 pounds. That just doesn't add up, because if you have more body weight, your energy that you need to sustain that is going to be completely different than the person that has 100 pounds more than you, right? So start with this equation. A lot of times you'll be surprised. You might find that your estimated metabolic rate, how many calories you burn laying in bed all day, is like 1,700 a day, right? So if you're eating 1,200 a day, you're sending the wrong signal to your body, okay? If you should be eating 1,500 a day to lose, and you're eating 1,200, what are you telling your body? Are you telling your body, hey, let's get some body fat out of here, that's my #1 priority, or hey, I'm starving, let's cut down hormonal processes and focus on keeping my heart beating with 1,200 calories. Let's store fat because we may not have food next week. What says we may not have food next week? Eating 1,000 calories less than we need, or just chipping away a couple hundred, right?
You had put that up, a couple weeks ago, and I calculated it out, and for me, and I'm 57, it said between 1,500 and 1,600 a day. I did all your math.
Did you base it off of step 2,
Yes,
which is our activity level? Okay?
yeah,
And then you subtract it.
yeah.
Okay, so it's 1,500, 1,600?
Mhm.
Cool. Are you doing it?
Trying.
so that's the amount you want to eat to sustain or to lose?
This gives you if you were laying in bed all day, amount, okay?
To sustain.
This gives you, based on your daily activity, how often you're exercising, okay? And then what you do, you apply it based on those numbers to your equation, and then you're probably going to be shocked and say, oh, I didn't know I could eat that much to sustain. Which is actually, yep, I can send you this.
Getting hard to type it all.
Sure, no worries. It's a little phone. And then you subtract from this. Okay? And you don't need to subtract by that much. If you're consistent, 300 calories a day is going to add up over time. Remember, because it's not going to happen in a week. It's not going to happen in a day. Any questions on that? Kind of interesting? Way to look at it a little different? Balance, right? So we have quality. We have quantity. We've been doing this for 8 weeks now. We're seeing progress, right? Now we really start to fine-tune our balance. How much protein in comparison to fat, in comparison to carbohydrates. Okay? If you're eating 100% carbohydrates, but you're on a reduced calorie intake, you may see progress, but you probably won't. Okay? Just an example. If you're having only protein, you're going to feel probably terrible, but you might be seeing a different result. Right? But we want balance, nutritionally, and which these are hormones and all those good things. Timing. Who eats before they work out in here? Why is everyone not putting their hands up?
Well, I eat lunch and then I come, like, 3:30.
Okay. About 60 to 90 minutes before a workout, we should always be eating. Even if it's just a protein shake. Traditionally though, what I'm recommending here, carbohydrates and protein. Does anyone know why?
Fuel.
Energy.
Energy, right? We all want to think that working out equals fat loss immediately. Who here has been under that assumption at some point? I was. I used to think back before I learned anything about fitness that if I worked out, I would just be burning fat right then and there. That's not how it works. Depending on the intensity you're working out at, it creates a perfect storm. That's when the clouds start popping up and you see the storm coming. After your workout, that's when everything comes and hails down on you. That's when body fat gets burned, oxidized, immobilized, you name it. You're trying to set your workout, you need to go in thinking, I'm going to crush this workout. I'm going to have the best 30 minutes right now so that my body needs energy after. Not, I'm going to slug through this workout and not eat before so I can reduce my intake and burn more fat. Okay? Go into it ready to crush your workout. Have the best workout ever. Why do we have carbs and protein after? Anyone?
Build muscle.
Get your muscles.
Recover. Recover. Let's call it recovery. Okay? And also the energy systems that you use from the best type of exercise for weight loss, which is higher intensity, you need carbohydrates to refuel. Protein can help you. So at least protein, but carbs, starches, pre and post workout. So that's, if I was doing the whole 30 and I was trying to lose 30 pounds, I will put my starches, my sweet potatoes, pre and post. Rest of the day, proteins, fats, veggies.
Would you have to have pre and post both, or is it just one?
Ideally.
is enough? Ideally.
It's not the end of the world. If you were a bodybuilder, I would say yes, you must. But if you're just trying to reduce body fat or lose weight, it's not the end of the world. But you want to feel like crap during your workout? No. You should feel good.
How far in front of
60, 90 minutes before. The window after is 60 minutes, 3 hours. It varies. Just get some carbs and protein in after. Yes.
I was always advised by my rowing coaches to do a 4-to-1 carb and protein ratio after my workout.
Running coaches. Sport specific.
Is that different for this, and how much so?
I would say for this type of training, 30 to 50 grams carbs, okay? Before, with about 30 grams of protein, okay? After, you can have 50 to 100 carbs, but with about 30 grams of protein, okay? Realistically though, getting some type of carbohydrate. If your goal is weight loss, you need to reduce
So
your
you're
carbs.
more on a 2-to-1.
Yeah. I,
2 protein, 1 carb.
other way around.
On the
Yeah.
way
2
around.
carbs, 1 protein.
It varies. Sport specific, that's when you need to get specific. This,
Weight loss.
So can you give an example of what you would eat pre-workout?
pre-workout depends on what type of dietary, guidelines you're following. If you're following Whole30, for example, which I encourage everyone to try, a little bit of sweet potato and some chicken breast. Some type of meal composed of that, right?
I think I've had 250 sweet potatoes over the last 27 days.
Celeste is we're gonna talk,
Yeah.
at the end, we're gonna cover specific.
And I like sweet potatoes.
Perfect,
Yeah.
good, easy.
Big going.
So an apple wouldn't do.
Yes.
Fruit
You know
can
what?
work,
Yeah.
It's metabolized a little bit differently than your starches though. So Celeste is gonna give us some specific, more practical, let's trainer geeky stuff at the end. Cool, so I got your back, don't worry. Does that make sense? When do we focus on this? Once we have checked off quality, and then,
Quantity.
and what have we done with our quantity? Balanced it, right? And now we time it. A lot of people want to jump to when do I eat what? Don't stress about it, unless you're,
So when's the best time to
depends when you can, right? If I said it was 3 o'clock every day, would you be able to do it? Exactly.
Yes. Yes, John, yes,
Exercising at
from the back
night, and
row.
so you eat 90 minutes before and you eat after.
There's
By the
rules in
time
it.
You eat after.
What are you focused on right now? Quality, quantity, balance, or timing?
Timing is what.
Okay, have you checked off quality?
I haven't started it, but.
Okay, perfect, there we go. Is that,
I mean, I'm doing something.
but does that make sense? Because we want to know those answers.
Actually, I'm already doing quality. It's the quantity and the time.
Perfect, we know what to
And
focus
doing
on.
the exercise.
Got it.
That's the whole problem.
Got
And
it.
if you exercise at night, are you gonna be eating too late if you're doing that after? The after.
Let's do a Q&A for that, but
Yeah.
what do we focus on? Quantity next, right?
So,
Cool. Perfect, no, you're right. So why do we lose fat? A few things. The perfect storm, lower blood sugar. Okay, when blood sugar is high, insulin's released. Insulin stores things into our cells. If we're storing things into our cells, are we pulling body fat out? No. Is that a bad thing? No. There are times when we do want insulin to be released, and protein and nutrients being shuttled to our cells, right? Who wants to get nutrients to their muscles and their cells and recover and feel great after a workout? I know I do. Perfect. So lower blood sugar. That's why lower carbohydrates diets do work well. Does anyone else know why we find that lower carbohydrates get fast or quick results? Little quiz here. Water retention. Did you know that if you reduce your carbohydrate intake, you can retain as much as 3 to 5 pounds of less water? So when you see someone that says, I lost 10 pounds in a week, maybe they were eating an abundance of carbohydrates and sugars, and then their muscles are just empty of glycogen. So they're actually storing less water, believe it or not. Kind of interesting. Low cortisol levels. Where's cortisol? One of the things that cortisol comes from? Stress, exactly. How do we create stress? Our diet, our minute-to-minute, day-to-day, right? Children, sure. There you go. There's lots of stress sources. But you can see why it's so important. Because if cortisol is high, or we're reducing body fat, or mobilizing or oxidizing body fat, not so much. Okay? Fat mobilization from exercise. Exercise gets the fat to loosen up, break up, and release and come into our system. And then our metabolism actually burns it over time. Okay? So exercise is there to disrupt, disturb, set the stage. Your metabolism, your heart beating, breathing, that's what's oxidized. That's the energy that's being used to oxidize the fat. Okay? And this happens from our hierarchy, right? Not jumping and timing, focusing on quality first and going through the steps. And also, of course, the training plan. Can you lose body fat from just nutrition? Absolutely. What I always say though, if you are either not including exercise, or you're saying, I'm going to run distance every day, you will not have any shape and tone, and there will not be a whole lot left to you after you reduce the body fat if you reach your weight loss goal. Also, if you're not following a progressive strength training plan, are you increasing your metabolism or decreasing your metabolism? You're decreasing your metabolism. So, who here has ever tried running as their training or their exercise for fat loss? Okay? Who here has had a friend that's done it? They lost 30 pounds running every day. Okay? Did that friend bounce back and regain some of the weight? Or if you have done it, did you regain some of the weight? If you are not doing things that add to your metabolism and speed it up, and you're reducing your calories, okay, and then you stop running, you bring your calories back up at that lower weight, are you going to have more weight are you going to gain weight back? Your metabolism slowed down. You go back to your old habit of how much you ate, you're going to absolutely gain weight back, right? That's why it's important that we're constantly increasing our metabolic rate with resistance training. So, your plan and cheat sheet. Quality. What do we do for quality? Whole30, right? Paleo, or any strategy. This is just what I'm personally recommending. Quantity. How do we define our quantity? After 4 to 6 weeks of quality. Harris-Benedict equation. Okay? Gives us a starting point. Balance. What I'm recommending, 30 to 40% protein, 30 to 40% fats, 20 to 30% carbohydrates. Okay? Who here?
If we don't work out for a day, are we supposed to reduce the starch and protein?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I thought I put that in. I'm sorry. That may be in the next slide. Yes. Another thing about carbohydrate intake, if we eat, or if we don't exercise today, are we going to eat more or less carbs? Yes, we don't need it. Carbs are more for instantaneous energy. They're important in our diet. We shouldn't eliminate them. But realistically, it should match our activity level. Okay? Because it's fuel. It is fuel for our workout. Anyone want to take a note or two before? No worries. Screenshots work too.
I know, it's type of.
I know, it's terrible.
So I tried that.
One last note on carbohydrate intake. Would you guys probably agree that it varies person to person? We all know someone in our lives that can eat whatever they want and get away with it, right? That's insulin sensitivity, right? Carb sensitivity. Some of us aren't dealt perfect genes. I'm not. I'll be honest. If I load up on carbs every single day, I'm gonna gain body fat. Plain and simple. You just gotta, that is what you were given, and you work with it, right? And then once their genetics slow down a little bit and stop working for them, guess who's gonna be all right? We are. So we got the good habits.
Genetics never change.
Oh, yeah, I know. So we often say it's not working, what else can I do? Are you doing quality? What's your quantity? What was the next part? Balance. And then timing. And then timing. I'm following it but not seeing progress. Are you focusing on your quality, your quantity, your balance, and your timing? Okay? Here's another thing. When I do find that someone is 100% committed to the quality of their foods, they've been powering it with quantity, they're 8 weeks in, and they're not seeing the results they want, we simply adjust. Because at the end of the day, you take a set of twins that have very similar genetics, right? One may have a faster metabolic rate than another. One may sleep better than another, so their hormones are firing a lot more efficiently. That person may be burning 300 calories more a day because they're healthier. This person may be burning 300 calories or less. If they take the same identical calorie goal approach, and they're starting to, one slowing down, one staying on course, what do we have the other one do? Just readjust. Then we want to jump to the next number, jump to the next number. Don't. Just let it run its course. It takes time.
But it's the age also, right? Once you pass a certain age,
Sure, that's
metabolism goes
it's
down.
factored into that equation. Okay. So number 3, reinforcement. This is done through 3 things: community, environment, and coaching. Right? Having someone, an influence, a mentor. Okay. Community. This is why our gym is successful. It's not the training. Training's good. I'm not saying nothing against my training, but the community is why the women that come here are so darn successful, because they come, right? Who here's had a gym membership before? Everyone raise your hand. Come on, keep it up there. All right, was there a week where you didn't show up at that gym? Put your hand down if so. All right, pretty much it, right, I've done it. I have 2 gym memberships. The point is that just showing up is half the battle. Once we get that in place, all these strategies I went over, it's going to get us that much more closer to our success rate, right? Higher success rate. Create habits that are in line with your goals, such as daily exercise. Think if you're going to show up here every day, you're going to work out. Heck yes, you're going to. I'm going to make sure you do. And if you surround yourself with those that choose to eat healthy, would you guys agree that you're going to eat healthy? If you choose to go to happy hour on Friday instead of coming here, what are you going to do? Are you going to exercise, or are you going to probably have a drink or 2 if you drink, or maybe eat something you shouldn't? Probably, right? What is it necessarily you going into that situation planning on that, or is it the environment you're putting yourselves in? Right? We all do it. We all put ourselves in an environment, in a position. This is our next thing. Control and create your environment. I know Weight Watchers focuses on this a lot, controlling your space, right? Who works in an office here, or has an office, maybe from home? Okay. If you put candy on the jar or on the table next to you, are you more likely to eat it than if it's not there? Why? So it's there, right? It's in your environment. It's as simple as that. The more you control your environment, we can do things in our office space, in our day-to-day space that can control it. If there's unhealthy food in our cabinets, are we more likely to eat it than if it's not there at all? We know this, right? It's just being proactive, taking daily action. Okay. And then coaching, having someone hold you accountable, someone that has done it themselves is huge. Because I'll be honest, one of the most frustrating things for me to see is when I walk into a big box gym that I'm not going to name that I go to, because obviously I can't work out of my women's only gym, and I see trainers giving advice to clients that are completely disconnected in every way, shape, or form. Meathead bodybuilder client, Bruno, 100 pounds more of muscle than me, telling Mama Jane that she needs to eat these foods that bodybuilders eat, and that's the only way that she's going to lose weight. It doesn't make sense, So you have to look at who you're listening to, because we've all taken bad information about trying to reach some goal, right? And then someone that has also helped others, just like you. It's really important. So that is it for what I want to cover. Did that help? Cool. Who feels like they gained something from this? Perfect. So let's take a few questions, and then Celeste is going to come up and go over some very specific strategies on top of the day-to-day strategies, and more so on like her jar salad prepping technique and stuff like that. And also, we are going to be doing a nutrition coaching program for anyone that does want to apply. We'll have applications printed, so if you got to head out early, make sure to grab me and I'll give you one if you're interested in that. Okay, we'll take care of that at the end. So questions first.
So how do you build in your happy hour, right? Because I don't want to have a life where, you know, I'm not enjoying wine once a week, perhaps twice a week. Is that like impossible? Like, do you say, you know, so I've been doing the Whole30 thing for 27 days. Not that I've counted. And so over this course, I have, at my work, I do a lot of business lunches, a lot of business dinners, drinks, so it's like breakfast, lunch, drinks, dinner. Like I have an opportunity to do that almost every day. So for 30 days, you know, I minimized it.
Right.
Although one day I was at a chef's table, a 7-course tasting menu with a pairing at each.
Oh my
I mean, it was an Italian restaurant, and the Italian chef, who was so cute, was like, La Signora no mangia, because I wasn't eating anything. And so then I finally, because I kind of wanted to play it low and just sort of pick at my plate, but I had 4 pasta courses, and so I was like picking out the vegetables in it. But so I have that a lot. How do I keep something, both in terms of like work-related things and to feel like it's a lifestyle, right? Because I'm gonna want to drink. Maybe not 7 courses of drinking,
Right.
but you know.
Let's say, okay, so let's look at one example. So it's a daily, almost a daily challenge for you, right?
It is.
What
Okay.
is your career?
So what would get you
Lobbying association.
what would get you closer to your goals and empower you more? If you bend the rules for them because maybe we feel out of place or we don't want to let them down, or that's that kind of mindset attitude. Or what's more empowering? Hey guys, I'm so excited that I'm here at this meal with you. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to eat some of these things because I am working towards becoming healthy, happier.
I did all that. I don't care what they think.
Sure.
So it's not about that.
What's
You
the
know,
challenge?
kind of the challenge is, what the hell do I order?
Well,
Like I have to go to these things,
But
right?
she wants to enjoy life.
That's not the work thing. So when I'm at work, I have no problem being
Right.
picky and telling people this or that. But it's like, what happened is I feel like I went to a restaurant, I tried to do the best I can, right? Told them this, but I still feel like that probably wasn't very good enough. Or I'm starving afterwards because I barely ate anything
Can you
there.
special order foods?
Can I what?
Can you special order foods that do fit
yeah.
in what you're looking for?
Well,
Pretty nice restaurant, sounds like.
Yeah, sometimes yes, but sometimes, you know, you're going to a dinner with 30 people or whatever. I mean, you know, it's like, how do I, and it is mindset. Because say I try to minimize whatever I eat there. So the work mindset is the work events is part of it, but then there is the, you know, I want to enjoy my life as well on the other times of it without going crazy.
Plan it in.
Yeah.
If you plan that in, Friday I'm gonna do it. Saturday I'm just gonna eat whatever I want that day. That's cool. As long as you are checking the box off every other day, that's gonna not get you closer to your goal, maybe that one instance, but if it keeps you mentally sane and that's what it is for you, rock it. You know, just own every other day, every other meal.
So the Whole30 people who did that thing said,
Mhm.
don't plan a cheat day. They said, go through this equation if you're going to kind of go off Whole30. It was like this chart. I'm sure
Right.
You've seen it. I was like, oh geez, complicated.
What's your goal? What is your goal?
To lose weight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is your goal to maintain the Whole30 principles?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
And there's a big difference between, I don't think big, but Whole30 and Paleo. I just retired, as John said, and I started, what was it, the beginning of October. And I was on the road all the time and all the holiday parties, and I was a manager and I threw half of them. And so, you know, some of the points he made, as much as possible, try to get the menu ahead of time and or influence it, like all the admins
I
that
know,
plan
I do
stuff
that.
I attend.
I do it.
Always know there's fruit for dessert, even though everybody else is eating tarts and torts and stuff.
Right.
And, you know, just work it really hard and cut yourself some slack. I mean, going hardcore and saying, you know, that in the kitchen they can only cook with these 3 fats.
Yeah.
You can drive yourself nuts, but, you know, but balance it and just, you can influence a lot more ahead of time. Because I work for a very conservative company, everybody follows the rules, and I was like, wait, I want to get myself under control. And I did lose weight through the holiday period by cutting myself a little bit of slack, but as John said, plan ahead.
Well, eat ahead too, like we were just saying.
Yes,
Have your own little hard-boiled eggs, your own apples, your own nuts, have that with you. And then, you know what, I'm a big, yeah, I don't wanna not have a cocktail, so I take the club soda with lime or lemon.
In a wine glass.
You know,
yes,
Yeah.
I played that game too, yes.
yeah.
Yep.
Does that give you some ideas?
Yeah.
She does it all.
I mean, that's some ideas, it's just, it's hard to maintain that
Well,
when you're
sure it is,
constantly in.
absolutely it
Well,
is.
even in,
If your goal isn't to necessarily maintain the Whole30 approach, then find what makes you happy and what gets you closer to your goals, right? And that may include eating whatever the heck you want one day a week. Cool. That's
Well,
fine.
then you feel in control because
you know what I would do?
Right, but make sure you check off everything else in your week. Have you exercised every day you intended to? Did you splurge on a Tuesday when your goal was to enjoy that meal on a Friday? Because then on the Friday, is it really enjoying that meal, or are you gonna feel like crap the next day because you already, you know, went off your plan or your intention on Tuesday, right? That's the mind game, that's the battle, right? Going into it with, you know, by stress reduction and also pre-planning that makes a big difference. Cool. We can chat after if you want. Any other questions?
How's chocolate milk after our workouts here for recovery?
There's been studies that is good.
But the
I
thing is-
don't personally do that. I stick to whey protein, and that's when I get my starches in.
Okay.
At least whey protein.
That's closer to the 4-to-1 ratio, so I didn't know if that would.
Right, once again, more running performance.
Right.
For training here, you're not using that same energy system, right? Here we train at a higher intensity versus running, which is a middle, sustainable, long-term endurance intensity, so it feeds off different energy systems, okay? So I would focus more on getting your 30, 50 grams of carbs, and then ideally about 30 grams of protein. Whey protein, for example, if you are adding whey protein in your diet for pre and post workout, it is actually insulinogenic, so it will actually raise your blood sugar and release insulin without having to add carbohydrates. And that's why you can get away with just having whey protein.
But that's a
without the
milk
carb.
product, right?
Yes, it is a milk product, absolutely.
Is there an alternative? What do you think of like?
Pea protein, hemp protein,
Hemp,
Mhm.
okay. What is hemp made from a grain?
I don't know off the top of my
You
head,
know,
to be
the whole
honest.
30 is you're cutting out the grains, the dairy, and the legumes.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll be dead honest with you.
I thought hemp was like a grass.
It's a seed, it's hemp seed, right?
Grass?
Yeah.
It's a seed then, okay.
Okay, if I'm coming at 5:30 in the morning,
Mhm.
what am I supposed to have, and when am I supposed to have it before I get here at 5:30
So-
in the morning?
Lifestyle factor, right? 5:30 in the morning is the only time you're getting in. You're probably not going to want to wake up at 4:30. Perfectly fine, okay?
So
There
what
is
can I-
the one supplement I would say, you can do it fasted, nothing wrong with that, okay, as long as you feel good. Okay, you should have enough stored energy or glycogen in your muscles, so you're not going to feel good, okay? Branched chain amino acids would be the supplement I would recommend, but I don't think it's necessary for you, okay?
What about like hard-boiled eggs, or like a cut-up apple and a hard-boiled egg on the way in? No? I'm asking, I don't know.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
recommend
'cause
it.
I-
Because
so
you're
I
not
mean,
gonna have
if
enough
I
time
have
to
it too
digest.
quick-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too close.
Fat digests extremely
Exercise.
slow in your gut,
Then
okay? If you have fat 60, 90 minutes out or less, you may be okay, but I wouldn't recommend it. Protein and carbs, they digest
So you
quicker.
said 30 to 50 grams of protein, 30 to 50 grams of carbs.
About 30 grams of protein, 30 to 50 grams of carbs. But not essentially, right? Optional, I would say. Cool. Any other questions?
Our issue is rice, John, I know.
Challenge.
It's gonna be really hard.
Absolutely. Sub it out. You could get pretty crafty with veggies. I like Brussels sprouts.
Well, and then, you know, some people, Against all rangy chops or cauliflower.
I said, the chopped cauliflower,
Right.
there's a lot of
There's,
different.
yeah, oh, Asha, another great example from
Yeah.
Paleo Whole 30, cauliflower, what's it called?
Brown cauliflower.
Yeah,
Potatoes.
it looks like rice, tastes
Well,
like
you
rice.
chop it in the blender so it has the consistency of rice, then you put in all your Indian spices. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But you know that book,
What about quinoa?
It's a grain. So I'm not saying it can't help you, but as a vegetarian, you're already kind of at a disadvantage because most of your protein sources are attached to carbohydrates, right? So the more you can detach your dependency on carbs alone, because you're already going into it knowing, if I want to get my protein, there's going to be some carbohydrate intake with this as well, right? That's why having the cauliflower versus the rice will cut your calorie intake down and your total carb count down as well, with your nutrients higher.
But we have to cut our legumes and beans too in the whole 30, so that gets us.
I think they make exceptions. Double check
There is
that.
a
The ones that
vegetarian
have the
Whole
heavy
30
pasta.
site and
Yes.
a Pinterest page, if you wanna look, it has good.
So if you do that,
go ahead.
so if you do that calculation, so I did that calculation, I've done it yesterday or whatever. So I have 1937.
Okay, times your activity based on
I already
activity.
did that.
Cool.
So
Reduce
is-
at least 300,
300.
maybe 500, depending on how you feel. You shouldn't feel like crap
You need
during
to
weight
lose.
loss. Yes.
Could you eat more than that on the day you work out?
On the day you work out, I would say you can hit that with a. I'm sorry. Ask your question again. I'm blanking.
So average on a day, so if 1900 is the number that I had, so average on a day, let's say a 1400 calorie, right? Is that what I should eat, sort of average out throughout the week? Say I'm working out 3 times a week, is that what I should average out during the week or on?
Try and see how you feel. You will see progress with a reduction as long as you're consistent.
The 1900 is a sedentary.
That's with
That was
activity.
lightly active,
Mhm.
like 1 to 3 times.
Yeah, but if you create a deficit, mathematically create a deficit, and then one day you are not active, over time you will be successful.
Okay, I'm kind of lazy person to cook. My husband does the whole cooking, but I've been cooking for myself. And if you have a limit of how many calories you can take, I usually cook for like 3-4 days, and I just get food from there, you know. How am I supposed to know how many calories I'm taking from each dish that I?
If you want to get super specific, you can measure it. Here's the thing, a lot of the stuff like counting calories or learning the calories of common foods that we eat is very powerful information. Because if we eat those foods on a regular weekly basis, we learn at once what it's worth. Like if you lay down a plate with chicken, sweet potato, and I can pretty much eyeball it and say almost to the calorie what I'm looking at. Because I've done it so much, right? I don't need to recalculate it. Do I track it? Yeah. But does that kind of give you an idea? Once you learn what foods are worth, you can use that information going forward. Okay? Also, you could pre-measure, right? That's the other alternative.
You mean
And
like
there's
if you make
also the
pot of
easy,
soup or something?
there's the easy one.
Yeah.
You know, a pound full of every meal, a pound full of protein, surrounded by good veggies, and a thumb full of good oils. And I never counted I don't count calories yet. In fact, I'm in the sustain mode. And that was good enough.
But she's talking about she might make a pot of soup or she might make.
So
Right.
So you
I would say
calculate.
enter it into MyFitnessPal. Enter your recipe in MyFitnessPal. It will tell you the whole nutrition content and
Just
the calories.
break it
And
up.
then divide it into how many servings, especially if you do the servings yourself and make it a serving, that's perfect. Then you know how many servings.
Yeah, it does have.
And the nutrition information.
And you can actually on that MyFitnessPal, like if you have the same kind of salad every day, like you
Yeah.
put the same ingredients in, you can
Save
actually
it as
just,
a meal.
you can just copy from one day and move it to another day.
Save it as a meal, save it as a recipe.
Any other questions before Celeste joins us?
I have a question.
Yes.
I've done a couple different diets, I've done ones that were, what I like to say, soy protein masquerading as food, not fast.
Sure.
And whey, and then I've got another friend who's successful on some new thing where there's a lot of supplements and then it's powdered protein.
Sure.
And I'm like, I don't want to do that again, because I know as soon as I stop doing that, Or,
Right.
and then I have friends that ended up with, I know I sound like an alarmist, but pancreatic cancer, you know, and I just say, are some of these really unnaturally dense shakes really
Is this a
hard
sustainable
on-
lifestyle?
Are they hard on our organs? You know,
I think you're asking the wrong question.
what do you mean? Wrong person or wrong question?
No, just in general. No, you're
I'm
asking
just asking, what's the question I should be asking, or maybe it's not something.
what's going to work for my lifestyle and what's my attitude having a relationship with food.
I mean, do those combination shakes that people sell, like you can buy at Whole Foods and this and that, are
Can
they?
you lose body fat? Absolutely. If
But I
you do
mean, are
it.
they good for your organs? Does your organs have a hard time processing these unnaturally dense combinations that they wouldn't normally see in nature?
I honestly, I believe that the closer it gets to real food, better off you're going to be.
Well, that's what I think, but it's not what you need. I know people. are-
How do you focus on quality, quantity, balance, and timing?
Quality
Okay, so that we know where to go.
No.
All right.
I'm just asking you, can you get away with the other stuff? Can you do the shakes? Can you know?
Do you want to?
Well, you do them. You do
I do
Right.
pre and post workout, absolutely. Yeah.
And do they have lots of supplemental vitamins?
Here.
Just protein.
Just
All right, thank you, ladies. Celeste's going to finish it.
I hope they weren't videotaping.
I am videotaping. Are you gonna? I hope it's got mine on here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna start real quick before I go into my slides, mostly pictures. I tried so many different times to lose weight. I mean, a lot. I tried diets, I tried exercising, and when I finally made a decision this time, I'm like, I've got to figure out what is sustainable. Like, what can I actually do? So my big goal was, I don't want to do shakes. I want to do something I can do in real life. I can go out to eat, I can go on vacation. Whatever I'm doing, it's got to be something I'm going to do for the long haul, because this is it. I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to be healthy. That's it. So when I first started with Weight Watchers, because I couldn't even exercise, I had no clothes that, first of all, I hardly could fit into the clothes I had, which is why I decided to lose weight. Well, there's a whole lot to why I decided to lose weight. But, so I had to lose 20 pounds before I could even get a pair of shorts on. So, and that's when I met with John and paired the exercise along with my changes in eating. So through Weight Watchers, I learned that what I thought was healthy eating, right? I thought I was eating healthy. I was eating like so many points, probably I was eating like 60 to 80 points a day. But I thought I was eating healthy, and I was so pissed that the media has been telling you, this is heart healthy, and this is heart healthy, and this has got protein added. Like, what? So in order to eat the 26 points that I was given, I was starving eating those foods. I figured out how to eat 26 points and how to eat a lot of food, and guess what? It was by eating real food. And people are like, what do you mean I eat real food? I'm like, I'm talking about like the most like natural food you can. I'm not talking about a box of something. Like, does a Cheerio that's heart healthy, does that occur in natural life? No. Does your body know how to process that? No. Does your body know how to process greens, things that grow, and meat, and fruit, things that are naturally occurring? Yes. So once I figured out that I could eat a whole lot more that's real food and still would eat within my 26 points, I'm like, huh? So then I started exercising. When I starting to exercise, then I changed my metabolic rate. Why? Because I was building lean tissue. So not only did actually when I first started with John, I didn't lose weight as much. I started losing like size. My clothes started feeling better. So at first I was a little discouraged on the scale because Weight Watchers is all about the scale. So I have a love-hate relationship with Weight Watchers. Because really, is it really about the number on the scale, or is it how I feel today? How I look today? How my body, how my mindset is today? It's not that number on the scale. And yes, do I get on the scale every morning? Every morning? Because I got something going on up here about it? Yes, I do. Does it reinforce what I did the day before? Yes, it does. Can I tell when I ate something? We went out for Indian food last night. Did I gain 1.5 pounds? Yes, I did. Am I freaking out? No, I'm not. Because I have controlled my relationship with food, and I know, guess what? That's going to end up coming off because I know what I've done in the past. So we can talk about tracking. Tracking, I have a freaking love-hate relationship. Where's Judy? I hate tracking.
Weight Watchers. It's from Weight
I
Watchers.
hate tracking because I think I should know what to do. Don't we know what to do? That's something else. The media tells you, oh, you need to eat this and that. You should have 1,200 calories a day. Shouldn't I know what 1,200 calories a day looks like? But I don't. I fool myself into thinking I know what I'm eating. And most of the time now it's gotten better, but if I really track it, then I know. And I track it because I want to be able to look back. What did I do that week that lost me whatever pounds that I've gotten away from that I know worked? So I now am tracking now for more of a record and as an example to show other people. So I'm on MyFitnessPal. Feel free to find me. It's my Lenten thing. It was my New Year's thing and I fell off the wagon, and now it's my Lenten thing. And I'm like, I am so human. I'm going to tell you right now, it is not perfect. It's progress, not perfection. It's making the best choices at the right time. It's making the choice that to get you to your goal and not to self-sabotage yourself, because we do that all the time, and I did that constantly. So when you make that choice when you're at a happy hour, I could have a drink, yes I could. Is that going to get me closer to my goal? How important is getting closer to my goal sooner? Choices.
But now that you're on maintenance,
Now that I'm maintenance, I still have those choices. If I have that glass of wine, or actually I don't like, when I started all this weight loss stuff, I figured out wine is really terrible for me. I get all congested, I snore when I drink wine. Who knew? I always thought, wine, it's like, I actually like almost get repulsed with wine. But let me go back. Where am I gonna go back to? I'm gonna talk about food prep. I'm gonna jump all over the place, because you really hear about food and nutrition. Because I could talk about my story all day. You gotta figure out what you're gonna have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. When eating, I did not want to be hungry. When I was losing weight, I don't want to be hungry. In fact, when I very first started Weight Watchers and I had to figure out how to eat 26 points a day, I would come home from work and I came home and I ravaged the fridge and I ate standing up. I was so hungry. Like, this is ridiculous. I don't want to be hungry all the time. So you got to really strategize. I carry food with me everywhere I go. Ask John. I have food always. I have to have it. In fact, when I don't have food around me, I get a little anxious because I need to know I don't like to be hungry. So let's talk breakfast. Eggs, some people don't like eggs. Some people, like I used to do, this picture is not very cool. I used to do oatmeal every morning. See that picture up there? When I lost weight, I had oatmeal with fruit every single morning. And I got to my goal. I did. But once I did the strict Whole30, I figured out that I actually stayed full longer by adding more protein than the carb in my morning. Now my breakfast looks a lot different. Oh look, eggs, bacon, look at this. I love this. This is a waffle with bacon on top and fruit on top of that. That is so good.
so is your waffle made with nut flours?
It's made with walnuts. Actually, this is not paleo, my waffle. So I will have it maybe on a Sunday because it's the weekend, and I usually go running on a Sunday morning. And so I'll eat it after I go running. But yeah, it has oats, banana, almond milk, walnuts. I have the recipe. I brought recipe books and all kinds of stuff. You guys can take pictures. Or look, the sweet potato with the egg. And then let me also tell you this, and Becky can say this. My husband loves my food. He will eat my food. Does he always choose to eat my food? No. But if he doesn't like it, he will tell me. He's like, Celeste, this is inedible. And I'm like, because I'm not really that great of a cook. This is now my breakfast. I have 2 hard-boiled eggs. I have paleo mayonnaise that I make myself, which I brought some stuff to show you guys how I make it. Broccoli coleslaw, bacon, and avocado. And I mix it up into like a egg salad. It is so good, and it lasts me all morning. So good. And a cup of coffee.
Is that just one of the breakfast?
Say it again?
Is that just one or you do it every day?
I do this every day.
So you're
I
doing that
love it right
Are
now.
you doing it instead of the eggs and the waffles, or is it?
Well, so this is I should quantify it. This is my weekday breakfast. Weekends, then I'll like have scrambled egg, or like I'll have that waffle thing, or sometimes we make like this whole frittata thing, and we have, let's see who makes it. I can see the brand, the sausage, it's a chicken sausage. Anyway,
That's Adele's,
it's not Adele's.
Johnson.
Johnsonville?
No,
it's the pre-cooked.
But anyway.
no, it's not pre-cooked, and I like make it all up and I add,
Chicken sausage.
yes, it's a chicken sausage, but I will find out the name
Whole
of it.
Foods has a good quality.
And it's now sold at Safeway and Giant, because it used to only be a Giant. Anyway, so then I'll do that, and I put onions and peppers and all kinds of crazy, tomatoes, all kinds of crazy stuff. And then I'll stick it in the oven in my cast iron skillet, and it comes out, and we cut it like a pie. Put some salsa and guacamole on top. Good.
You put cream in your coffee?
Okay, I am human. Coffee is like, I'm from New Orleans, and I love strong coffee. I used to, like if I would tell you how I used to eat, you would just be like, of course that wasn't healthy. I thought it was healthy. I used to do like a tablespoon or two of sugar and like half and half. Like it was a dessert. My coffee was like coffee ice cream except hot. So now, yes, I use this Silk vanilla creamer. Or there's coconut. And my goal is one day when I have my Vitamix, maybe for Mother's Day, to make my own.
You don't have a vitamin.
No.
You've been going all this time?
This is this whole story. Like people in the gym know about like things with the Vitamix. I really want to make my own vanilla almond milk, like creamer, because you can make it yourself. I think it's crazy to make my own mayonnaise. But I'll show you, this is how I make my own mayonnaise. Oh, sorry. Look, I've got this immersion blender, and you put you put an egg. Wait, I think I have the pig. No. We'll talk about all this stuff. So, like, you put some ingredients here, and it emulsifies in here. Unbelievable. It is so good. Now I can't eat jarred mayonnaise
Which
anymore.
one did you buy?
This is the Cuisinart, and it came with this thing.
I think I saw that at, I think they had it at TJ Maxx.
Seriously, it's so creamy. You definitely have to keep it refrigerated because it's raw egg, and then it's lemon, and then olive oil. You want the light tasting olive oil. I've made the mistake of the dark tasting olive. That's not good. Salt and mustard seed, ground mustard seed. It's so good. It's so creamy, right? So now when I eat the jarred stuff, it tastes plasticky to me.
Celeste, how do you make that sweet potato egg thing?
Okay, so you take a sweet potato raw, and you grate the sweet potato. Then I cook with bacon grease. I feel like I'm back with my grandmother cooked. I literally have the thing of bacon grease on the side of my stove, right? And I get some bacon grease, put it in a skillet, throw those grated, and just let them saute in there for a while. And then I crack my eggs and put them right in there, and then just mix it all up. Or like the other one, like you take that out of the pan. You can add spices to it too, like pumpkin pie spices.
That would add spinach too.
Add spinach.
My newest
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sweet potato spinach and then throw the eggs on top.
Yeah, I mean, and that is such a great morning breakfast, that sweet potato. It's very filling. Actually, there was a time when I was doing sweet potato and hard-boiled egg for my breakfast in the morning, but I felt like it was almost too much carb because I ended up getting hungry.
So with the bacon, I mean, I've looked around, there's so many of them have sugar.
Okay, yeah, so let me talk to you about, so Whole30, the Whole30, they can be very strict and militant. You gotta do what you can do. I buy because I cannot spend a fortune on organic grass-fed everything. I got kids, I work at the school system, I do the best I can. I buy the bulk Safeway thick cut bacon. Later I know I have pictures of the slides on how I prep. And you know what, it might have some sugar in it, but I have eliminated sugar from so many other areas of my life. God, instead of like actually making my own bacon, which I know some people do. Some people actually make their own bacon. So I do what I can. If you can find the bacon that has no sugar at all, that'd be great.
Whole Foods.
No, there are.
Whole Foods does have
Whole
paleo
Foods.
bacon.
Yes.
There's like Walton bacon.
Yeah.
I've gotten a giant.
All right, so we're gonna move on to dinner. We'll talk about breakfast tomorrow because I have other stuff. Okay, so I do a whole lot of prepping on the weekend. Like today would be my big prep day. So this is the prep for curry chicken, which actually is in my crock pot now. And the beauty of when I do this, when I do this prep, so I literally chop everything up that needs to be chopped up. Then you see this little strip right here? Those are the spices in a little Ziploc snack bag, right? I put my little spices in there. And then all the husband has to do in the morning is dump that into the crock pot with the chicken and the chicken broth and the coconut milk. It's foolproof, right? So, because I leave too early in the morning to set this when I leave. So he can just dump it all in. How great is that? He just sticks
What do
with
you
the husband.
use, chicken breast, or what do you use?
That is, the recipe for this one calls for skinless, boneless chicken thighs, which are the, you know, it's like, I also am looking for how, you know, it's cheaper than the chicken breasts, right? And he loves this meal. This is my prep for one of my other, I love this Italian beef crock pot stew. So this is like green beans, and I actually put okra in this one, and garlic and onions, and I just, another one, he just throws it in, adds the stew meat, then he just opens the package, and then he pours in a box of the beef broth, spices, and it's over. This is my carnitas in the crock pot. So I make like it calls for spices on top of the pork shoulder. So I make a little Ziploc bag of all the spices ahead of time. So all he has to do in the morning, again, this is, you know, make it for the husband or for yourself, I mean, because you might be doing. He sticks in the shoulder, he pours all the stuff around it, puts in the chicken broth. There you go. Oh, my spiraler. Jane, the spiraler. So this is one of my big, I have kids. My kids will mostly eat some that my daughter can't eat, she's allergic to coconut, which has been huge. So she has pasta with sauce, right? So what I do, instead of the pasta and sauce, because I used to have pasta and the sauce and the cheese and a big glass of Ovaltine, because I thought that was all healthy, right? Ovaltine is supplemented with all these vitamins, right? No, I actually take a zucchini, stick it in here. This is well used, I've broken it, like, but it still works. And you just spiral it, and like within minutes, I have this spiraled, like noodles, and I will put the sauce on.
The fiber squash that you buy, what kind of squash do you buy?
So zucchini squash, the green, you know the green?
And yellow
You can
works.
do yellow squash.
Yeah.
You can do sweet potato, actually, before, you can do
I
sweet
tried that.
potato. And then you fry up that sweet potato in the bacon grease. So good.
It's like,
And how many times a week you work out, Celeste?
3,
3, really?
3.
And you run once on Sunday?
And then I run. Well, you know, I couldn't run today.
What's your secret?
My secret?
I'm just kidding.
No, I'll take, my
Just
secret
told.
is I eat real food. I'm not hungry, and I make sure that I move my body in the way it's designed to move. I'm not doing crazy stuff. I'm just here in the gym, look, it's functional fitness. I'm not like, that's one of the things, that's why I feel so passionate about sharing my story, is that it took me so long to figure out. I don't want it to take you guys long to figure out. I want you to be on this wall. I want you to join me on this wall, because that's what you all want, right? We all want to feel good, to feel healthy, to feel like we have energy again. I never had this much energy. God. I mean, I used to be a sideline parent, watch the kids play in the cul-de-sac. Now they want me on their team. They're like, I want mom! I'm like, yes, because I can run to the base now. Before, I might have kicked the ball and then another kid would run for me, right? Okay, and this is my carnitas.
What a good role model.
Yes,
Teach
it's
them
that's
to
another
be
big thing. It's a big, for me, to be a role model for my kids on what healthy is,
And that you can take a goal and
because
make
my
it happen.
parents are not healthy.
But it's
and
also
that was hard.
reaching a goal. That's-
Reaching a goal,
Even if
yeah.
it's not weight, it's something else. You did something, you reached a goal.
Yes, and
That's
then
a
you
great
can do
model.
it. Okay, so those are my paleo tortillas, basically made with eggs and arrowroot powder and some baking soda, I think. And you make it like a crepe. And I'm telling you, after you eat these, you don't feel as heavy as you do when you're eating like a corn or flour tortilla. This is one my sister-in-law even loves to make this. So I have all my recipes in the back. But you can see I've got like sliced sweet peppers and cilantro on there and guacamole. It's so good. Okay, lunch, my jar. I did a jar salad workshop a couple weeks ago. I am a huge proponent of this.
Where do you buy those jars?
You can buy them at Walmart, right here. You can buy a case of them. And everyone thought you had to get these big jars when they came for the thing. But no, I just fit them in this small little jar. You just fill them up in reverse order. You do the dressing if you want. I know I have
What kind of
slide.
dressing, do you make it at home?
You can make your own dressing. I particularly like the Wegmans lemon vinaigrette. I find that one's like neutral enough and not like overwhelming. But when I first started doing these, I didn't put any dressing on it. I just did the vegetables in reverse order. So I did the tomatoes. I know I have a slide on this.
I looked for that lemon vinaigrette at Wegmans. I couldn't
Oh,
find
you
it.
have to ask them because it sells out a lot. Wait, I'm gonna get to mine. It does, and they always have the track.
Yeah.
Oh, here's my jar set. All right. It's so hard to see it on mine. I get this huge box of greens from Safeway, and I'm talking, it's a big box. I get tomatoes, Persian cucumbers, sweet peppers. Oh, I put pumpkin seeds in mine. Oh, this is my lemon vinaigrette. I chop it all up, put it in reverse order, and I'm talking, I stuff it with greens. And so there's my, before I took it out of the jar, and that's what it looks like. And I would pair that with a protein. So a protein maybe that I cooked for dinner the night before that I then put in a container and bring to work the next day, because I really like to have something warm when I'm having lunch, not just always like a cold something.
So you put dressing and the veggies and the greens?
Yep, dressing, veggies. Yes, there is actually you remember the gym? Yes, the video of the workshop is in our page. And Stephanie's that's here. What did you think of it?
Loved it.
Are you doing
I've
it
been
again?
doing it for the last 3 weeks.
And
And
how long
my
do they
daughter
last?
asks for it.
It lasts for a full week, and actually the last slide. So we went to this all-day conference yesterday, and I bring food everywhere I go. I'm not so sure what we're gonna have for lunch. So guess what? I had made extra jar salads, so I brought one, and so I made them last Sunday. It was Saturday. I opened it up, dumped it all out. Wait till you see my plate. Everyone's like, because salad was all gone that they had ordered from Chick-fil-A. And then I took the Chick-fil-A, they had these wraps. I just took the chicken out of the wraps and put it on top. But let me tell you, there's very little chicken in those wraps. I had to take 2, I should have taken 3. It's very little chicken. It was mostly wrap.
Yeah,
But I was told you should put grains and the beans and then the veggies and everything. I mean, I've seen it online, these
Yeah.
massive jars, but you put the protein on the side and you just put the.
I do, but you can put the protein inside.
I mean, it won't
Some
fit,
people
though.
put
It's better
cheese,
to
but
put
I'm not
it
eating
in
cheese,
different
because that's a whole nother, like, I end up doing the Whole 30
Yes.
over time, because I didn't even know the Whole 30 existed. I discovered it randomly at Barnes & Noble when I was looking for another healthy cookbook. I kind of love cookbooks, right? So I just kind of picked it off the shelf. I'm like, oh, what is this? And as I was reading it, it was talking about the symptoms of what to expect when you do the Whole 30. I was like, oh my God, this is what has been going on with me for the past months. When I stopped sugar, I stopped at cold turkey, I felt like I had chronic fatigue. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And then I realized, oh my God, I am having sugar withdrawal. How ridiculous. But I couldn't get off the sofa. But it was from the sugar fatigue.
so quality is definitely here.
My qualities, and I'm telling
What
you,
about quantity? I mean, are you eating 2 breakfasts, just one
Nope.
little muffin? It's enough.
no,
I mean,
remember?
egg muffin, you know.
Egg muffin.
You know, the ones you put in the little,
Oh, so those, I feel like I don't have time to make those egg muffins, but I will one day. I know that that strategy works for a lot of other women. They just take it out, put it in the microwave for a couple seconds, and it's nice and warm.
Do they keep it in the freezer or the fridge?
Fridge.
Fridge.
The fridge. They make like a dozen, right, Mary?
Seen
Or,
them
yeah,
online.
Patty, you make them too.
and just one a day.
Yeah, they're great. So the egg, you can put whatever you want inside. Some sausage, some bacon, some,
You take egg,
yeah.
whisk it
All right, so
around,
this is what I do.
water.
On Sunday, I make a ton of hard-boiled eggs. Now that my husband is trying to be like me,
And then you can eat those for
I make a
breakfast
ton of
as well.
eggs. And then I make a huge batch of bacon. And I only have to make the huge batch of bacon like every 2 weeks, because I literally cook the entire thing of the pack. And I just dip it in a Ziploc bag, and in the morning I'll slice it up and put it in my egg salad. But I make a lot of eggs.
So do you have one of those eggs?
I do have the egg genie. I used to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I think I deserve it. Just like the Vitamix. I feel like it's a long time coming, John.
You know,
Long time coming.
so everybody's just gonna pitch into a pot and go over to.
I know, that's good.
Your Vitamix, baby.
All right, food prep. I already showed you these two. then this is my little baggie of spices, right, for your carnitas. Oh, and I just wanted to show you these. So everyone's like, oh, you can't have bread anymore, because I did eliminate wheat. And actually, just telling John, the month where I eliminated wheat, you can actually see a big difference in my stomach in my progression picture. It's like noticeable difference, so I'll try to pull it up later, or we can just look at it later. I now make, and these are in one of my recipe books that I have, and like, I don't consider myself a really good cook, but look, that looks really good. There's a little hamburger bun or a sandwich roll.
What is
And
that?
it's a hamburger bun. It's
Against all
in this
grain?
book. Oh my
No, it's
gosh.
not the against all grain?
Yes, it's an against all grain. My books. Look,
And you actually enjoy.
and I made it, and yes, it's so good.
And that one you can actually, she's using that same recipe for her blender bread.
Oh, there's blender
I
bread.
think it's the same recipe.
It's
'cause it has the
similar,
million-
it's
million
similar.
eggs. Yeah.
Yes, it has a lot of eggs.
Can
So
you
you know
pass
what, I have to tell you, that when I plug these recipes into Weight Watchers,
Yeah, that's.
I
right.
eat my entire points practically in that. But guess what? Because it's such great quality of food, it's not killing me. I'm not eating 3 of them. Like I had this morning actually for breakfast, I had an egg with bacon, 2 eggs with bacon, and I kind of made it into like a little,
Bread sandwich.
yeah, little, so I did that this morning.
You had a McMuffin.
Yes, it was kind of like, I talked about that.
What
Oh.
about fruits? How many fruits do you eat?
So I just, for me, I add fruit in my salad actually. Salad. So I'm not like really like, I don't eat this much of that. I really focus on the quality, somewhat of the quantity. I know what my calorie goal is, but I used to be hungry all the time, like I said. I came home and I was like eating. Now that I eat such better quality and my blood sugar levels are much more even, I don't crave anymore. And I used to think I was hungry. I was really craving. But now when I'm hungry, I am hungry. And I know I'm hungry and I will eat because I know my body is signaling me, you need more fuel or you're gonna like pass out or something, right? So that's why I carry food with me all the time. When I'm hungry, and I eat. So we can talk about snacks. I'll go to the snacks in a second. I want to share this food prep really quick. I made barbecue, but not barbecue. I made crock pot ribs. I've never made ribs before my whole life. That recipe comes from this book. I think I have it flagged. And oh my God, they were so good. Perfect ribs. Oh my, I know, you guys are vegetarian, but anyway. And so this was my husband's dinner plate. Look, there's the roll, I had a salad, and then the ribs. So good. But I'm gonna go to snacks really quick. I know,
I just
right?
keep thinking I would be eating like 5 ribs, a huge salad, and, a couple of the rolls, instead of eating two pieces of ribs.
Oh my God, I ate the whole slab. You can eat the whole thing of ribs. Why wouldn't you?
Because I'm not losing anyway.
Hold on, you're thinking of it all the wrong way. You need the protein.
I know.
You need the protein more than you need the salad. Because you're gonna get carbs. You're gonna get carbs. But it's harder for women, I find, to get the protein. Let's
Plus,
talk
it's
about,
also- The other thing, if you pay attention to your body, it will tell you when you're full.
yeah.
And so, if you use that little palm, surround it with the thumb as your starting point, and then eat slowly. And they also tell you, because how many people eat while reading a book or watching TV?
Or
They
looking
say,
at your
turn
Facebook page.
off everything else and just focus on the meal. And then you're actually attuned to your body, and your body tells you when you're full. So when you're full, finish it up, and like I said, I haven't had to count calories yet, and I'm down 30 pounds. And I, was not active before we started, but you start paying attention to what your body's been trying to tell you, but we multitask, and actually we can't multitask, that's a misnomer.
My husband loves to eat in front of TV. That's where he eats, in front of TV.
Yeah.
And he always like, Sus, come over here, come watch the game with me. No, I know myself. If I eat in front of TV, I feel like I didn't eat. I sit at the table, I have a placemat, I've got my drink. I would love for the family to join me, but I know I have to take responsibility for myself. I sit at the table and I eat. And he's over, and I can't make that choice for him. I cannot force him to. Unfortunately, she knows, if you guys know my husband. and he makes that choice, take control of
So what
your
happens with the kids?
choices.
They come sit with you?
The kids, Kennedy will, but she wants to sit with dad and eat, on the sofa.
But the other side of that too is when you're not eating and you're watching TV, that triggers you to want to eat because you're
Because
eating.
you're
in
training
front of you.
yourself to eat when
Right,
you're
it's like
watching TV.
a
Right,
complete
and
cycle.
for me, watching now, TV is like a waste of time to me. What do I have so many other things I now want to accomplish, because now I have confidence in myself. I actually think I can do something. I have the energy to do stuff. Before, I didn't have energy to do anything. God help me if I had to go up a flight of stairs. At school, I would avoid going to make a delivery to upstairs because I did not want to go up the flight of stairs.
So do you make separate food for your kids now, or is it?
So just kind of like the pasta, it would be something like that. But luckily, in this case, making my food is quicker than making theirs, right? So I'll give you a great example. In the summertime, we have hot dogs and hamburgers, right? I will give the kids the hamburgers and the buns. What do they have on the side? Usually we have like corn on the cob or whatever. I take that same hamburger and put, like, maybe I've made an extra jar salad, or maybe I just make a salad that night with crazy salad. I mean, I put crazy stuff in my salad. Like sometimes citrus, and maybe that's not that crazy. It's crazy to me because you know the traditional lettuce, tomato, cucumbers. I go crazy. Then I take that hamburger and I crumble it up on top, and then I take the mayonnaise I made and I add these spices and I make it into a Louisiana remoulade and add that. I would rather eat that than the hamburger on the bun. And that's satisfying me more, keeping my blood sugar better. And it's better for me than eating that, even we used to do the potato rolls, the super big ones,
You feel so heavy after.
And you feel so heavy afterwards. All right, so let me talk about some snacks. My pre-workout snack, because I'm coming straight from school, I do a banana and cashew butter. You're like, oh my God, she makes her own cashew butter. So this is literally a bag of raw cashews into the Cuisinart and turn it on for like 5 or so minutes, or until it's creamy, and then it fits right into here. It's very rich. John thinks I should add cinnamon to it. I like it completely plain. I add nothing to it.
No oil, no water?
Nothing. I add nothing to it.
Do you soak